Are you about to pull your hair out just from trying to figure out how am I supposed to pick the right foundation color for me? Well, hopefully in this video, I will be able to explain to you the basic simple rules you need so you can figure out your holy grail foundation match. So I have a feeling I know what it is that's making it so difficult to figure out your foundation match, and that is figuring out your undertone. So your undertone is basically whatever color you have within your skin. Now, I have this chart that I made up, and it was specifically made from my mineral makeup book, but you don't necessarily need this to figure this out. You just have to remember your colors. But basically, the undertones fall in 5 basic categories. And so the first one is the peachy, and that falls under the warm category. And then there's also another warm category where it's more of a golden or a yellow. And then we have the rosy and pink, which tends to be for you cool tone girls. And then we also have the neutral, which means it's not so cool or it's not so warm, it's just somewhere in the middle. And then the last one, which probably is like its own category itself, which is the olive skin tones, which you have a bit of like a greenish tint, almost like, and it's like more of like the yellow green. Not don't think of it like green green, but just more like a yellow green. Just like a green olive basically. Okay, and then from there, what you can do to really get a good contrast of figuring out what you have is you can use like a white sheet of paper or wear a white shirt and make sure that the white shirt is close enough where it can be compared to your face so you can really figure out the color. But then go either near a window or somewhere outside where you have some like nice natural light. And I've actually heard that it's actually better on a cloudier day where you don't have like the bright rays, because if it's too bright outside, that can also skew your color perception. And then so what you do from there is like you basically just you can hold that white paper up to your face, like preferably like under your chin, and then look in the mirror and just determine what colors do you see. I mean, does it seem like it leans on the yellow side? Do you feel like it looks like cooler? And try not to mistake if you have like rosacea or like some blemishes that may make your face a little pinker than usual. Really just get a good look at your face and see what other colors you're seeing in addition to that. And then, of course, if are you on the peachier side, like the peaches and cream complexion? And then with the olive, you may see like a hint of green. And sometimes that green is just very faint, especially if you are like a fair olive. And one way you can determine that is that just like when you do put on other foundations, what colors do you turn? Like if something looks a little on the orange side, it may turn you like a brownish, dirty color. If you put on something that's neutral, it may look kind of ashy, because like the green, that extra green in there doesn't really match with something that falls just right in the middle. It's just gonna, it's not gonna look quite right on you. You'll notice that you look washed out. And so those are like some clues that can give you an idea of where you fall in. And then the next step, and this is the easier one, which I hope most of all you all will get a good idea of what this is on you, is basically your depth. And that is either are you very fair or are you very dark or deep in your color. And so the only difficulty that you may have is if you're somewhere medium like I am. But again, you can just look at the range that the colors of the foundation you're looking at and see where they fall. A lot of times they will have some pictures. And if they don't, like I do on my website, a lot of times I just tell my customers, just email me or DM me, and you can send me a picture or you can tell me what's worked for you in the past. And then we can decide about how warm or like how deep to get for your foundation color. And then from there, you really can just start picking out your samples. And depending on how much you want to spend, just figure out which ones that you want in that like a medium level of either the warm, if that's your thing, or if you end up being olive. And then if you're not sure, you can kind of like cross over, like sometimes like some of the olive may cross into the neutral, because unfortunately foundations are not standardized. Like what's one company, what one company has is olive. Another one has theirs more neutral as opposed to, if you know what I mean. So you do have to shop around and see. And I did that. I was a foundation sampler queen, and that's why I ended up just making my own. And from then on, I haven't looked back. So that might be your clue to start your own foundation company if that's the case. And then so basically, once you do that and then you get your samples in and then you can try it out. And it's the same thing as when you are looking for your undertone is you just want to go someplace where you have some natural light and then apply it to your jawline. And I can fit like 3 or 4 along my jawline and then just see which one disappears the best into your skin. And some things that I would do to help figure it out even better is you may have to buff the foundation just a little bit, simply because you never know, like the way that it blends into your skin. You want it to absolutely disappear into your skin, because remember, when you apply mineral foundation, it turns almost creamy on your skin once you apply it with your brush. And then the other thing too is you may have to wait 30 to 60 minutes, especially if you have trouble with your foundation oxidizing, meaning that it starts to turn colors, specifically like an orangey color. And if you don't want to wait the 30 or 60 minutes, you can speed along the process and just maybe spray your face with some hydrating mist, like I did here. And this is just the La Roche Posay. But you can pick whatever else that has like some liquid in it. Or if you want to try like just a little drop of jojoba oil, because that mimics a little bit of your skin's own oils, and just see if it does anything interesting there. Like, does it turn darker, or does it turn orange or whatever? But yeah, it's important to see what it does on your skin after a little bit of a while, because I have seen where foundation may change colors on you simply because it mixes with the oils and moisture on your skin, and it can look completely different from what it looked like, when you first put it on. And so as far as anything else goes, I mean, don't try to match your foundation to your hand. I think that's the one that I see a lot is like, oh, well, I tried it on my hand, and unfortunately, not everybody's hand matches their face. I mean, not even like our necks. Sometimes our necks don't even match like our face. And everything is, built around, does this match my face? And then the other thing too is take suggestions if it's from somebody that you trust. Because, a lot of times I know in the past I would go to the makeup counter and I'd have the lady, pick this for me. And I don't think we ever really even tried it on, not, at least not that I remember. It may be different now. Because, like I said, I've made my foundation since like 2008. So I have no idea what it's like trying on makeup at the makeup counter. And and especially like there should be like little tells, like, does the foundation match her face? That's something that I would ask, is like, does she really know what she's doing? Because the best thing is just trying it on for yourself and figuring out what color looks best on you, and especially in natural light. Because if you are trying it on at the store, those lights are not the most natural. A lot of times it's like fluorescent lights. So I know for me, I think it always turned me green. And I know that would absolutely throw off the color, matching. So, but anyway, I think that's really all I have to say about it. I mean, I hope that this gives you at least an idea of where to start. I know in the future I will go into more of the nuances, especially the kind that you find at Adorned with Grace, where, the chart that I have, that's just a basic chart. The chart that Adorned with Grace has, it's completely different. There's a lot of yellow and warm and neutral and olive in there. And that may be something I think that would be beneficial. And then the other thing too is, in the future, I would love to be able to show you how to correct your foundation with just some simple tools that you may just need to get like a little bit of a sample of, and you can do a whole lot of color correcting, especially if you've bought like a lot of samples and everything looked too orange on you, or it looked too like ashy or green. I can show you how to add the color back so they can be usable. So if that's the case, if you're interested in those and would like to keep up with us, just hit like and subscribe. And that way you can be notified when we have those tutorials coming out. And then until then, happy hunting on your Holy Grail foundation, and we will see you later. Bye. I am adored.